To get started in Illustrator, I'm going to go from a completely blank state and make a new document with File, New. It's A4 and landscape, but really just anything is fine. So I can see up here I've got a tab with the name of the document. I've got a workspace. This is a canvas I can put artwork onto. I've got tools over on the left-hand side, and I've got one selected. And hovering over shows me it's called the selection tool, and the shortcut to select it is V. We'll come back to tools in a moment. On the right-hand side, I've got a properties panel, and the properties panel is going to let me change something about whatever I've got selected. So I just use the ellipse tool to draw a circle, and I can now go to properties and change its fill color, change its stroke color, and change the weight of the stroke. I could then switch back to the selection tool and change the size of this shape or move it over. So you can see then that the tools here let you create things or modify things directly, whereas this properties panel lets you change the properties in a more numeric way, or something that wouldn't be so obvious with one of the tools, like the fill or the stroke. Now, you can't do everything with the properties panel. There are actually many more panels in the program, and you can find them in the window menu. So I could bring up the color panel, or the layers panel, or the pathfinder panel to do different operations. But the best way I've found to get started is to look for the word Essentials. That's the name of the default workspace. And from there, I can switch to the older, but I think probably more useful, Essentials Classic. Now, a workspace is a collection of open panels. I've still got properties here, but I've got a new panel, the control panel, along the top, which is similar to the properties panel in some ways. For example, I could change the fill of the object here, as well as here. So I've got multiple options now. But the options panel does things in a slightly different way, which can be helpful. There are also extra panels in this column here. So this is the color panel, this is the swatches panel, and I've got many, many more. These are collapsed, and I can expand one of them at a time by clicking once on the icon. Now, sometimes these panels, like the stroke panel I've got open here, have all these extra options available. So I could choose to have a dashed line or change the alignment of the stroke, for example. But sometimes you might not see all of that. So if you only see the basics in a panel, head to this little thing in the top right-hand corner. It's called the panel menu, and you can show or hide options. Hiding the options means I can only see the weight. Showing the options gives me all the other options. Now, panels are all different from one another, but they have a few things in common. They have buttons and menus like this, and they have text fields as well. You can type numbers into a text field, but I would use the arrow keys on the keyboard to get instant feedback. If I was to type a number in, I won't see that update live until I press the Tab key or maybe the Enter or Return key, depending on context. So I really do prefer to use the arrow keys on the keyboard wherever possible in any of these fields, in one of these panels or up here in the control panel. Now you can do other things with panels too. If you wish, you can tear them off. You can dock them back in, and you can rearrange them within their groups, or indeed make new groups below. If you do want to do this, just pay attention to what the outlines are showing you. A new group, a whole new column of panels, or to redock with the existing panels. You also don't have to have them collapsed. The double arrows here let you expand the panels so they're all visible all the time and they take up more space. And you can rearrange them here as well. Now, I'm not going to focus too much on what the panels are just yet. Just know that the window menu is where you can find them, and the workspace menu is a way to return to a known set of panels. Now, if you mess panels up, maybe I right-clicked and closed some panels, I closed properties, and I just feel lost, I can go back to the Workspace menu and choose Reset. Remember, you can also find this under Window, Workspace, if you can't find the Workspace menu here.